everyone, it's Jen Thoden with YourColorStyle.com, and I have a very special guest today. Her name is Monica Tetteh, and she is the founder of That'sSoMonica.com and her Instagram feed, also called That'sSoMonica.com. So today, I'm bringing Monica on because I came across her feed, and she is all about sewing her wardrobe. And I mean, it's just amazing the items that she creates for herself. It's amazing. And I just thought that it would be kind of a fun twist. Instead of just fashion and color, I want to go to the other side where someone's actually creating these beautiful items, and color and fashion, of course, obviously play into this. So a couple more things about Monica, which I know that we're going to be talking about. She's also the creator of Project Sew and Sew Your View. And they're two different things. I'm going to let her explain those, but again, Monica, you are a busy girl. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining me today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Jen. I appreciate you having me on your show.
Oh my gosh. I'm so excited. I'm going to learn some stuff today. I just know it. I don't know if you know, but like my first business was all about sewing. Believe it or not. But it wasn't clothes. It was window treatments. So I used to help people online learn how to sew like Roman shades and curtains, that kind of a thing. So I am no stranger to the sewing machine, but I could not sew a piece of clothing for the life of me. So it's too accurate, I think, for me. I don't know. I can't do it.
You have to start easy, a nice full or open type of muumuu style dress is always great. And then you can work it in to get your measurements and all of that stuff.
Got it. So yeah, I don't know. But I know there's so many people who find so much joy in this. So go ahead. So Monica, go ahead and tell us how you got started into all this, because it looks like you've been doing this for quite a while. So how'd you get into sewing and your project?
So I got into sewing it was a way for me to heal. My mom passed away. It'll be 17 years this year. Oh, wow. And on the 10th anniversary of her passing, I wanted to feel and connect a little bit more with her. And she sewed. My whole family, my mom's side of the family and my dad's side as well, they're from Ghana, West Africa. So sewing was something that they learned in school. And my mom would sew when we were growing up. She would sew our costumes and clothes. And, I would see her at the sewing machine, but I never once picked it up. I love fashion. I would draw and paint and do a variety of things, but sewing wasn't something that I was like, oh, okay, I'm interested in. Because in Ghana, for her, it was more of, this was vocational. So if you did sewing, you just didn't either go to school. So you learned it through trade school, but it wasn't something you picked up as a career. So it wasn't like, oh yeah, sweetie, I'm going to teach you to sew so you can have this as a career. No, do your job and do whatever it is that you would like to do. So, that 10-year anniversary, I decided I got online. I started Googling and I looked for sewing classes in the Dallas area. And I stumbled across the Plano American Sewing Guild. Mm-hmm. So I took a 6-week sewing class with those wonderful ladies. And from there, it was just like, I felt a connection with my mom, but then it was just all these gifts and everything was just released. My creativity was being able to be released. So I work for a city here in the Dallas area and I do events. I'm an event planner. And they had wanted to bring in some more events for the community. And they said, Monica, we know you sew. Would you and your sewing group be interested in coming in and doing some sewing events for free for the community? And I said, sure, why not? I get to put my love of sewing and love of planning in one whole place and still go to work. So we started that, and it Project Sew. That was the concept. I love Project Runway. So I had to play on the Project Runway side and said Project Sew, and women, we would come from different backgrounds and different sewing levels, and we would just come and sew. And that started in, I think it was the 2014, 2015. So no, 2015. So we celebrated 5 years this year. And from there, we moved from the Fair Park area to a recreation center, and it just began this online, no, in-person sewing project where we would all bring our things to sew. We have quilters, we have people who sew curtains as well as fashion sewing, and we would all just get together and sew. So that was how that started.
Kind of like a knitting circle, but instead everyone's bringing their sewing.
Yes.
So that's so cool. So like how big of a gathering was there?
So the first few times we would have 5 to 10 women. And then one time we had about 35 women at one time. And we all were, every time they came in, I had to bring in a new table. And it was just, we were creating our own sisterhood, our sewing sisterhood. We would just share, and it's perfect. It's perfect. And unfortunately, because of Corona, we can't meet in person, but we've been trying the Zoom and doing virtual sewing meetups, which have been really great to just see and connect with each other.
Oh, so are you announcing those through your Instagram, or where are you announcing those?
Yes, I'm announcing those through the Instagram. We actually did one recently because I was launching Project Sew DC. So with Dallas, I had women in Atlanta saying, hey, we would love to have a Project Sew in Atlanta. So I said, okay. And we went ahead and we launched Project Sew Atlanta. And then we had DC. It was, hey, we would love one in DC. So we launched DC. And unfortunately, we weren't able to have the inaugural event. So I decided to do a special Zoom and virtual meeting for them where I did prizes and stuff. So
fun.
So I do announce those on my Instagram, and emails go out to everyone who's part of Project Sew when we're having the Zoom meetings and stuff.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm sure that people who are listening that are sewers and crafters would definitely be interested in jumping on something social like that, because since a lot of us are still at home, or it's just not an available thing. People don't always have circles where they can go and actually get together and sew. So that's really fun. I didn't realize that's what it was, to be honest with you. I saw it on your Instagram and I saw DC and I was like, oh, I didn't know you were like traveling with this thing.
Yes, I am. And it's great what's so fascinating is on Instagram is where we realized how large the sewing community is. Because at first, for me, and the reason why Project Sew was so important for me is because you're sewing at home. You're in your own silo. Sometimes are you the only one? Out of my age demographic and my friends, none of them are really sewing. Yeah. And they're like, girl, what are you doing? Sewing is not hip. You want to be a designer? I'm like, no, I just enjoy making my own, clothing. Yeah. And I think what would happen is when I started the Project Sew, people were online and using the hashtags and, just being savvy with social media. Everyone was like, oh my God, you're in the Dallas area. We didn't know. And then that's how it opened up the world. The sewing community is so large, Jack.
It is. And we are addicted to fabric.
Yes.
When I was in it, it was ridiculous how much fabric I had. Like,
yes. Oh my God.
Oh, it's bad.
That's a little bit of my stash right there.
Yeah.
And that's just a little.
Yeah, because I also used to quilt. And that was where for me, the creativity and the serious addiction to fabric really, really grabbed a hold of me, because there's so much fun. It's just like, I'm already into color, but it was like patterns and textures and then you could piece them together in these amazing ways. It's so much fun.
I haven't gotten into quilting yet, but I'm starting to gravitate towards it because, like you said, the patterns, the colors, and putting those pieces together and then seeing the finished product. Yeah. So that's about to be my next addiction.
I really liked it because it was very creative when it came to choosing your different fabrics that went together for your block, and really learning how to piece. I loved piecing, but I didn't love the accuracy. For me, I'm a very impatient person. I'm a very messy artist, and so being that precise for some of the types of things, I was like, oh, forget it, I'm not doing it. But other people would produce these like insanely beautiful quilt blocks. I'm like, wow. And it's just, I love going to the expos and just looking at all the beautiful
Yes,
work. Yeah.
that's
Very
awesome.
creative.
And I know you asked me about Sew Your View. Is that correct?
Yes. Tell me
Okay.
about that.
So how that spun off is we, with the community, we were all meeting online, and then we all enjoyed buying the Big Four pattern company patterns.
Yeah.
And it was just like, hey, we would love to see how we each interpret a pattern. So Sew Your View kind of started just from that. Myself and another sewist, we would just post the pattern for the month, and then we would both sew it, and then it just would say, hey, join us in the sew along. We would offer tips or suggestions. And then I realized how it was growing. I decided to start a Instagram page solely for that.
Yeah.
And that has spun into, we have over 10,000 people who are following us and participating every month. We have at least 20 to 30 or 40 women. One time I think I had 60 people, I believe, that did the same pattern and interpreted it differently. And it's such a joy to see how we all come together and sew one pattern, but we all add our own spin to it.
So that, that's really interesting. I actually, because I've never really attempted to sew clothing, I will tell you, I always just assumed is buy the pattern, buy the fabric, and just sew it. I didn't think that there was a spin to it. Like,
yes.
So everybody has their own thing.
Yes, they do. And sometimes we have terms like hacking. So you would hack a pattern, or Frankensteining, like Frankenstein piecing together various parts of the patterns that you like and then making it into your one collection. But I think with the plays that I love is seeing how the women choose their various patterns, the colors that they decide to choose, the fabric, the textures, and how if they're going to go short, long. Yeah, so that's the part that's really fun to see.
So you mentioned color because I love color. So I'm curious. So for you, when you're choosing your pattern, how do you personally go about like choosing your fabric and colors to make something?
Okay. So it's twofold for me. One, I have a fabric addiction. So I will go into the fabric store and I will just pick any fabric that draws to me. I don't know what I'm going to make. For the most part, I always want to make a dress, a real flowy, long dress, but I'll pick the fabric and that's what I start off with first. And then color for me, I love prints. I love vibrant colors. I mentioned I'm from Ghana, West Africa. And so prints and mixing prints and those African color prints are really what pull me in. And then I look at the patterns next and kind of see, hey, what sewing pattern is for this month, or what sewing pattern style that I want to make. And then I look at my array of fabric that's here and then say, they have to talk to each other. It's like the pattern is like, hey, fabric. Hey, fabric says, hey, pattern. Can we marry each other? That's how it is. And then it's so weird. I know I sound crazy, but they have to talk to me and talk to each other. And then there's sometimes when the fabric doesn't want to speak to the pattern. So then I have to go back to the fabric store and buy.
So then it's like, you're just not getting along. You're like, it's just not working. We're going to have to split up.
Yes. And that's what happens. But
oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's crazy. But I love interpreting color. My wardrobe, my ready to wear wardrobe has a lot of blacks, of course, for work, and a lot of reds because my favorite color is red. But then you'll find those colorful pieces. But I do gravitate to white and neutral colors. But for some reason, I don't buy them a lot and I don't sew them a lot. But because the color just comes in, the vibrancy for some reason. But I'm trying my best to get into other colors too.
So, so for you, like, do you always just kind of like, just pick up a project, like a dress, and it's kind of a one-off, or is there any kind of planning at all around like, this would be so cute with this other thing that I've already made or bought? Do you ever pair things up and try to get like a little ensemble, or is it more of a, just whatever feels right that month?
So I do too. I do both. So for instance, I've sewn so much now for the past few years that I have an array of clothing, and I would love to transition to one day where I'm wearing all of my makes.
Mm-hmm.
So I try every day to wear something that I've made and incorporate what I'm planning on making with those particular outfits.
Mm-hmm.
So for instance, I have these wonderful mustard color pants. Oh, I love them. They're gorgeous. So now when I think about those pants and how I want to wear them, I look at other tops that I'm making and see how I can pair those colors together, if they fall within that color family or style. And so I'm looking at that. And actually, after talking to you earlier this week, I said, how can I put together my colorful wardrobe with all of the makes I currently have? And I'm like, Monica, I didn't even realize it to myself that I was slowly doing that. So I have a planner. I have 2 planners that have croquis on them, and I can show you what it looks like. Let me grab it real quick.
This is more than I thought.
So it's one of these planners right here that I use, and I will go in, like for instance, I did a gingham jacket. So I'll put the fabrics that I want to use, and then I will also sketch it out here. And then I have another planner that I use as well. And like, for instance, like this was a colorful one. These are the mustard color pants that I
love that.
And then this was a colorful top. So I made that into a blouse, and then the pants. So I'll send you that picture. So the pants, these are my staple. I love it. And now I have some more of that fabric, and I'm into the palm leaf prints now. So it's like trying to merge the 2 colors together and seeing how the yellows with the greens and the whites, and then I'm into this boho chic. I don't know if it's because of the hair, just the spring, and everything is like boho. So I'm looking at colors like that.
Oh, yeah. So that mustard yellow, which is such a trending color. Oh my gosh, you see it everywhere. And so, yeah, you should be doing. You already saw. I saw the blue, which is probably stunning with that purple.
Yes.
Green. And what would be also really kind of interesting is like more like a magenta pink.
Okay.
I think that would be freaking tastic.
Hold on. I'm so sorry. I don't even want to hold you up. I'm just going to show you just what you're saying. So this is the one fabric that I have. So I see it like a blouse or a dress. And then this is the yellow, the mustard color pants. So with it together, but you're saying like that magenta, maybe some piping, so that's kind of how I'll play into things. Sorry, I didn't mean to run off.
No, don't apologize. I love it.
Yeah, so that's how that comes. And then sometimes I go on Pinterest and I get inspired, and depending on my mood, depending on where I'm going, and it's like, oh, you know what, you need something fun, fancy. Okay, you're going to this event, then that's how I'll pick the color or what I'm wearing. So it's an eclectic range of fabric choices.
I just love it because I love it's so creative, and it's such an expression of you. And I love that I can already tell just by when you talk about it that you get into this flow of experimentation and what if this, and this would be so much fun. And it sounds like you take a little bit of a risk too. Like a magenta pink piping doesn't come off, like it's on there, but it's like for me, like when I'm done with an art journal page and I look, it's ugly for a little while until it's done, and then it's done. I'm like, damn, I'm so glad I took that risk. I love it. Or thing I did on there.
I will tell you that sometimes I will say things and like tell friends like, hey, I want to do this. Like I wanted to do a black and white look, and I wanted one side was all black, one side was all white, and then the pants to do the same. And they were like, Monica, what do you I don't know if that's going to work, girl. And I said, no, I can see it. I see it in my head. I see it. And I sketched it out, and they're like, and when I put it on, everybody was like, okay, where do we get the black and white fabric? Where can we do that too in color block? And I'm like, see, I told you, you have to sometimes give it a try and see what it's going to be like, you know?
So I love that. So do you have some major fails?
You know what? I don't, honestly, everything I've made, even if it turned into something I'm like, I end up fixing it and making it work.
Okay.
So I have one project which is more of an unfinished project. And I will say this, let me be honest, I have two that they're still in my unfinished pile because I chose the fabric, I chose the pattern, but realized that after sewing it, it really wasn't married together. So it kind of it doesn't read to me. And I just put it back in the bag and I left. It's been sitting there for 2 years now. So I thought the other day because I'm like, hey, you know, I'm feeling this boho. Since we can't really go anywhere and we're locked down, I'm going to make my backyard boho-ish and I'm just going to luxuriate out there. And I'm like, you know, that fabric is reading to me again. So that's what tends to happen for me. I see things and then I've made some things where that's not my fashion style anymore. So then that's where I have to either revitalize it, pair it up with something to give it a little bit more pizzazz.
Oh, so you don't donate, you go back to it and change it.
Yes, I haven't donated yet, besides giving something to my aunt that she really wanted.
Cute.
But no, it's like I have everything in the closet just arranged and I just look at them, but my closet is starting to get full. So as I start donating my ready to wear clothes and adding my made clothes, my me made clothes in there, I'm starting to look at things and I'm like, you know what, that may not work, but if it's something that was real special to me, I'm like, I'll just keep it maybe for my daughter or just to have to hold, you know?
Oh my gosh, I just love it. I just love the whole process that you do. I had no idea. I mean, I had some idea, but you just made it so much more exciting. Like, it makes me want to like jump into my art supplies right now, just because the whole, like, what feels right at that moment. And for you, it's fabric and the textures and the pattern, the fit and the style. It's the same kind of thing. It's just, I love it. It gets me excited.
It's exciting. And you know what's even more? It's like if I see a picture on Pinterest and it's like, oh my God, do I have a fabric like that? No, I don't. Okay, then I go looking for it. I can't find it. So I'm looking at, that's where I started saying I was slowly getting into quilting because I was looking at how can I, you know, create that fabric from doing the different colors and either painting on the fabric or piecing together the pieces of the fabric so that it can work for what I'm looking for.
Oh, wow. Wow. That is like a whole nother level right there. That's amazing. So, all right. So for someone that is listening to you and is like, I've always wanted to sew my own clothes, but I'm a beginner. Like, what would you tell them? Is there something that you would advise them, knowing all the things that you know now? What would you tell them?
Well, I would definitely tell them to keep trying because there are going to be moments where they would want to give up. My first project was a tulle skirt because I was in love with Sarah Jessica Parker and I was tulle skirt, and that was blood, sweat, and tears, and I literally almost gave up sewing. But I kept trying. So for beginners, I would say start with beginner-friendly projects, but then also do whatever you want, because if I didn't push myself to do that tulle skirt and I just started, I personally say with the beginner project I wouldn't have known, like, okay, when it got to this level of sewing, I would have probably given up at that time. But I will say that start with the beginner-friendly classes. There's so many on YouTube. A lot of people are doing this one-on-one classes where, just like how you and I are speaking right now, where you have that one-on-one time. I have a lot of sewist friends that are sewing that do teaching classes, and they have their online classes, and they're so great. Or you can start with your local sewing guild if you have one in the area. Sometimes some of them offer that, or any of the community colleges in the area. But start with beginner-friendly. You can start with an apron, a table mat, or even a nice blouse, and then you start from there. I realized when I started sewing, I picked up a lot of beginner-friendly patterns, and then quickly as I started learning that, they're all up here. Like, okay, what's next? What's next? What can I conquer next? And I'm noticing that with a lot of my friends who are beginner sewers.
So is there a particular type of fabric that they probably should avoid when they're first starting out?
I would say knits.
Oh yeah, 'cause it's so
Probably,
stretchy. Yeah.
yes, probably to avoid knits first. Some people love knits and that's what they start with, and they don't even use patterns because it's easier for them. You don't really have to worry too much about measurements per se with knits,
Oh really?
because it either stretches or it's you can bring it in. But I would say start with cotton. I stayed away from knits, and of course tulle. You're going to cry unless you're ready to cry, blood, sweat, and tears. Then I say go for it. But if you don't want to do that on your first project, stay away from that for the first one. But I think cotton and woven are the first easier fabric choices to start with. And silky type of fabrics, like either organza or silks, because sometimes it's hard to sew if you don't have the proper sewing foot, because they tend to slip, and that can become a little bit fussy for a
super frustrating.
Yes.
I've tried it. It was, well, again, I'm not an advanced sewer, so it was very frustrating.
You'll be kicking your machine.
What?
You'll be
do you have a serger?
I do have a serger.
Ooh.
I do. It's right here. I actually purchased one of the first, the brother 1034, like the beginner serger. So I'm saving up to buy like the real, like the self-threading serger that you'll just put the thread one time and it's like, whoosh.
Yeah, once upon a time I was like, when you're in it, right? Like everything, there's so many things you could buy and so many things. I remember looking at the serger going, ooh,
I know.
That looks so exciting.
Oh my God. Threading it, because it has 4 thread pulls, I was so scared. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm not going to get this. And when you open it up, it's so intimidating because this one goes in this hole. And I remember I was like, okay, great. I finally got it. And I decided to sew something with it and it jammed in the needle. And I didn't know what to do. So I had to take it in for repair. Got that done. Was sewing again, trying something with the silk because you can actually gather too. So I was learning that. And did something and I had to take it in. I'm like, I can't afford to keep taking it in. So I went online, looked at videos and started talking to, like, when I would go into the store, the sewing stores, and asking questions. And I learned how to time and self-time my machine so that I could fix it myself. And then now I'm repairing my friends' machines.
Wow, that's amazing. Jeez.
Because I'm like, okay.
That's amazing. So what is next for you? Is there any new project? Are you traveling as soon as you can? What's next for you?
So yes, I hope to be traveling soon as we can. I had to cancel my Bermuda trip. So what's next for me is I was creating a Bermuda wardrobe, and I'm going to continue that so I can luxuriate outside my backyard.
I love that, the luxuriate. It's an amazing verb.
But what's next for me is to continue the Project Sew and hoping to expand. We're look to expand hopefully to LA. We have some fabulous sew sisters there and looking to do some things there, as well as some other upcoming events that I had planned for 2020 that we're going to push for 2021. I love bringing the sewing community together. So those are the type of events that you're going to see from me. And then possibly with Sew Your View, my hope is to start a pattern line for Sew Your View. So
I was going to ask you, I said, do you ever break away from the bought patterns and create your own?
Yes, I would love to do that. And that's where I've been doing research for a few years. And I think I'm at that point that, sometimes you have to just go, you wait and you're like, okay, I'm going to wait for this time. I'm going to wait till I have this much money. I'm going to wait till this is perfect. Yeah. And life isn't perfect, as we can see. So I'm going to just go ahead and push go and then go from there. And then, a few other collaborations that I look forward to, and all of that, just continuing to sew and expand and continue to gain experience in that area.
Love it. So if people want to find out more about you or connect with you out on social media so they can see all the things that you just mentioned start to happen, how can they find you?
Everyone can find me at That's So Monica, either on that'ssomonica.com, Instagram, Facebook. That's all of my social media. That's So Monica.
I will leave the links below this video. So if anybody wants to check her out, you'll be able to find that, because there's a little bit of a trick. There's 2 S's in there. That's So Monica, and so is SCW, of course, but just in case you guys didn't get it, it's a super cute tag for sure. Monica, thank you so much for joining us and sharing with us all the things that you're doing. I hope that people are inspired and take up the craft and follow you online. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, thank you so much, Jen, for having me, and stay colorful.
Thank you. Bye for now.
Bye.